Hello, welcome to Family Movie Night, where we'll be talking about what we watch for Family Movie Night. I'm Mike, and today we'll be talking about How to Train Your Dragon, not the 2010 animated version, but the 2025 live action remake. This just came out not too long ago. The premise of this is exactly what you think it would be from the animated movie. So let's see. To train your dragon. Okay, as an ancient threat endangers both Viking and dragon alike on the Isle of Berk, the friendship between Hiccup, an inventive Viking, and Toothless, a night fairy dragon, becomes the key to both species forging a new future together. This is directed and written by the same guy who directed the 2010 animated movie. So Dean DeBlois, I think that's his name. This stars Mason Thames as Hiccup, Nico Parker as Astrid, Nick Frost as Gobber, Gabriel Howell as Snotlout, Julian Dennison as Fishlegs, Harry Trevelyan, who's Tough Nut, Bronwyn James as Rough Nut, and Gerard Butler as Stoic. Let me get this out of the way right off the bat. I love the original How to Train Your Dragon. The original How to Train Your Dragon is one of my favorite movies of all time, and it's also will go down as one of my favorite movie-going experiences that I've ever been to. It just felt like magic watching this, and I love the relationship between Hiccup and this dragon. Toothless is adorable, and I really enjoyed the story. I really enjoyed what it's saying about proving yourself, being true to who you really are, and also that you don't need to have, or you don't, you shouldn't let disabilities, or you shouldn't let things get in the way of you being successful. So I really like a lot of those things. I think this is one of DreamWorks's most consistent franchises, and I also think that the three original animated movies will go down as like one of the best trilogies of all time because of the consistency, because of the character work, because of all of that. However, when I heard that they were doing a live action remake of this, it hasn't even been 15 years. I was concerned, admittedly. I was concerned for a lot of reasons. But the main one is I don't know who this is for. I don't know what purpose this serves because I don't know a whole lot about the original How to Train Your Dragon that needs to be changed or needs to be edited. That's something that I see a lot with the Disney live action remakes is that they are looking to change so much about the original story and retcon certain things that they know that they need to fix. And I think all of this boils down to is live action remake fatigue as well. Not so much that they keep doing it because as long as there's going to be money to be made, there's always going to be an opportunity to recreate and redo these animated movies. And with Disney, like they've had one this year and it was not good. So, and the last couple have not been good for the Disney live action remakes because they fall into a couple camps. These live action remakes, it's either they make subtle changes and it's maybe just like a little bit better than the original one, maybe expanded story or maybe fixing certain things with certain characters that we didn't really know a whole lot about. So, for example, with Aladdin, the live action remake of Aladdin, at least they gave Jasmine a little bit more of a character. They gave her a little bit more of hey, this is who I am, this is what I'm going to do. And they did the same thing in Cinderella with the prince. The prince was a nobody in the original animated movie, and at least in the live action remake, they gave him a character that we could latch onto and we can learn a little bit more about. Then there's ones that like what are we doing here? We're like these feel like shot for shot remakes and it feels worse off. So looking at you, Lion King, Pinocchio, most of the ones that end up on Disney Plus. Yeah, all of those just I don't get who that audience is for because it's one of those things also where it's like if it's not broke, why fix it? at this point. And then the last one is the ones that kind of split the difference, the one that make changes that are a bit of an overstep, but still hold true to, the spirit of the original. And it's still a serviceable movie. It's still good. So looking at Beauty and the Beast, looking at the Jungle Book, looking different things like that. So we have How to Train Your Dragon, which you have the original director, you have, a lot of the same, a lot of very similar things about the movie. You even have an original actor in this as well. So let's get some positives out of the way first. Is that I think one of the big changes that they did a really great job of is actually making Stoic a little bit more of a character. And that is, all the credit in the world goes to Gerard Butler for doing a fantastic job of actually emoting as an animated or as a non-animated character, but also he gets a lot of credit because he's done this a while, so he knows the character inside and out. So that's definitely a plus. The cinematography is gorgeous. So and even like the set design is really great too. I didn't have that much of a problem with the effects either. I thought the effects were actually pretty good. I thought Toothless. I was pretty concerned with how Toothless was going to look. Like, yeah, does he look a little fake? Yes, I would wholeheartedly say that. But it still doesn't change the fact that I thought Toothless was cute. I thought the flying scenes were incredible. And yeah, like I thought the effects, like I thought the rest of the dragons actually looked really good as well. I thought the performances overall were solid. I thought Mason Thames was fantastic as Hiccup. Does a really good job of just holding true to the character and showing that slightly heightened level of emotion that we don't get in the original. I also thought that Nick Frost as Gobber was really good too. But then again, also maybe that's just me as bias that Nick Frost is just really great. Like this also reuses the music, and that's one of those things where it's like, hey, we don't need to fix the music. The music is great on its own, and the music is just beautiful. The test drive scene just got me so good. So I really like that. My big question or concern with this moving forward is why did we do this? Because this is almost like a shot for shot remake of the original with some like different lines of dialogue. Most of the other characters from the original, like the that core group of friends who go through the trial by fire or whatever, they were fine. They're you know I think some of the comedic stylings and the I don't know, the overall performances were a little flat for most of those characters, and this is somehow longer than the live action version. But if I were to put this and the animated movie side by side with one another, I'm choosing the animated movie 10 times out of 10. So I'm wondering, who is this for and why did we do this? Why couldn't DreamWorks do another one like a different live action remake? But I think they picked this one because they knew that it would make a ton of money and it would do really solid with people. And if you bring back all the original people from director to an actor, yeah, it's not going to ruffle any feathers, but also it's not saying a whole lot different. And true, it's when we got out of the theater, my wife, like, I asked my wife what she thought, and she said, well, it feels a little bit like if it's not broke, don't fix it. So it's pretty much very similar to the original How to Train Your Dragon, which I don't have a problem with, but just overall, I thought it was good. I enjoyed it, but to me, this is never going to replace the the original one. Maybe in subsequent sequels, maybe it will. Who knows? But for now, like How to Train Your Dragon, like I wrote in my letterbox review that it was not devoid of heart and soul. Because that's definitely not the case, but it felt very brainless in the sense that if you've seen the original, it carries on all the same beats. It's going to do all the same things, and to varying degrees. A lot of it is done better, and some of it is just done about the same. And I can't fault the movie for that. But at the same time, this just reminds me that, hey, I should go watch the original How to Train Your Dragon instead of me wanting to see more within this world. That's going to do it for this episode of Family Movie Night. Be sure to like, rate, and subscribe to anything and everything SPDM Crew wherever you get your podcast. Join us on social media on Facebook, Instagram, X, Threads, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Blue Sky at SPDM Crew. Check out our website at SPDM. Follow our list labeled Family Movie Night. Or follow us on Letterboxd at MLHilty2452 and follow our list labeled Family Movie Night. Shout out to High Flyer Creative Studios for making our awesome logo. Greatly appreciate their support. If you have any marketing, logo, or brand standard needs, contact them at highflyercreative.com. Check out the other shows on our network. We've got lots of shows on movies, TV, sports, music, comic books, physical media, Tolkien, trivia, just about all kinds of different topics. So please check out the other shows on our network. And if you've got a podcast idea or you're interested in being part of the SPDM Crew as a guest or collaborating, email us at gmail.com. Until next time, happy watching, friends.